Welcome to Chemistry Lectures, and today's topic is Electrochemical Corrosion. Today I am giving this lecture on a special request from the students of various engineering colleges, especially Sir MBIT Bangalore. When we talk about corrosion, the first thing which comes to our mind is the broken bridges, the broken railway tracks, the badly shaped infrastructure. All these are because of the electrochemical corrosion. So we can explain electrochemical corrosion as the slow oxidation of the metal by its surrounding environment to which the metal is exposed. The atmosphere is made up of gases and water vapor, and on this basis we can classify corrosion as dry corrosion and wet or electrochemical corrosion. The dry corrosion can be explained as the attack of dry gases on the surface of metal leading to its deterioration or destruction. But this is very rare. On the other hand, the electrochemical or the wet corrosion is due to the attack of air along with the water vapor on the surface of the metals, leading to its severe deterioration or destruction. And this is termed as the wet or the electrochemical corrosion. This type of corrosion is mainly found in the moderate temperature, that is the conditions where there is high temperature and high humidity. India is one of the mostly suffering countries due to the wet or the electrochemical corrosion. Corrosion can also be called as the slow burning of the metal, because burning is nothing but the oxidation, and corrosion is also the oxidation of the metal. Now the question comes to our mind, why a metal gets corroded? The answer is very simple. Everything which is found in the nature want to be in the lower energy state, which is the comfortable state, and so does the metals. The metals occur in the nature in the form of minerals or ores, and in the minerals they are found in the combined or the lower energy state. When we extract them from the ores, they come to the elemental form or in the higher energy state. So the metals want to revert back to their original state, that is the combined or the lower energy state, and this is the basis of their corrosion. Because due to corrosion, they combine with the oxygen and the humidity and comes to the oxide or the hydroxide state, which is the combined state. The reasons for corrosion to take place is the electrochemical reactions that take place on the surface of the metal. The electrochemical reactions are the redox reactions that take place on the surface of the metal, and the redox reactions takes place in the galvanic cells. So in other words, we can say that the corrosion is due to the formation of galvanic cells on the surface of the metal. Now, why the galvanic cells are formed on the surface of the metal? There are many reasons for the formation of galvanic cells. Some of them are the difference in the concentration of the air on the metal surface. There may be two different metals in contact. There could be stress on the surface of the metal due to welding, joints, the faulty design of the machinery, and the uneven surface of the metal. So before understanding the corrosion, one should first understand what a galvanic cell is. A galvanic cell is any electrical cell which produces electric current or the flow of electrons, and this electric current is produced due to the spontaneous redox reactions taking place in the cell. A galvanic cell is also made up of electrodes and an electrolyte. The electrodes are the metal or the wire which is capable of undergoing oxidation or reduction reactions. These metals could be copper, zinc, iron. The electrolyte is a solution of ions which is prepared by dissolution of metal salts such as copper sulfate, zinc sulfate, iron sulfate, etc. When these electrodes are in contact with the electrolyte, they develop a potential called the electrode potential. So the electrodes can be classified into anode or cathode. The anode is the electrode which is capable of undergoing oxidation quickly with the release of electrons, whereas the cathode is explained as the electrode which is capable of undergoing reduction quickly by accepting the electrons. The oxidation potential is the tendency of the electrode which may undergo oxidation by the dissolution of the metal, and the reduction potential is described as the tendency of the electrode to undergo reduction by accepting the electrons from the anode. So, a galvanic cell can be explained taking the example of Daniell's cell, in which the two electrodes are kept separate in two different compartments, and each compartment is called a half cell. The two electrodes are kept in the solution of the ions of solution, and they are connected by an external wire. When we connect the two electrodes by the external wire, they start producing electrons at the anode, which flows from the anode towards the cathode. But this flow comes to a halt if the salt bridge is not introduced. Now, taking the example of Daniell's cell, here the galvanic cell is explained where the copper is kept as cathode in the copper sulfate solution, zinc is kept as anode in the zinc sulfate solution. When the two are connected by an external wire, the electrons moves from the zinc, that is anode, towards the cathode, where the copper sulfate solution is there, and the copper ions in the copper sulfate solution accepts these electrons and gets reduced at the copper electrode. The sulfate ions then becomes in axis, enters the salt bridge and reaches the anodic compartment to the salt bridge, where the sulfate ions attacks the zinc electrode and dissolves the zinc rod as zinc ions with the release of electrons. These electrons again enter the external wire and reaches the cathodic compartment, and this goes on till a dynamic equilibrium is attained. Now the copper electrode has a higher reduction potential as plus 0.34 volts, whereas the zinc has a lower reduction potential as minus 0.76 volts. Therefore, copper has a tendency to oxidize the zinc rod or the zinc metal by dissolving it into the zinc ions. The half cell reactions are explained here. At anode, the zinc gets dissolved into zinc ions, liberating the electrons, and at cathode, the copper ions in the solution accepts the electrons released by the zinc and gets reduced as copper at the electrode. The net cell reaction is also explained here. So this is the working of a galvanic cell, and this galvanic cell formation takes place in the nature also on the metal surface, resulting into the dissolution of the metal at the anode, leading to corrosion. So the galvanic cell formation leads to corrosion is explained, and to explain the corrosion we take the electrochemical theory of corrosion, and iron is the example to explain the electrochemical theory. Because on the metal surface the galvanic cells are formed, and these tiny galvanic cells starts the redox reactions on the metal surface. So, the galvanic cell formation is the basis of the corrosion. On the metal surface, the galvanic cells are formed, as a result of which the anodic reactions starts taking place at the anode and cathodic reactions starts taking place at the cathode, which finally results into the formation of rust. So, at anode the oxidation always takes place, and we are taking the example of iron. Therefore, the iron gets dissolved into ferrous iron, that is Fe2 plus, with the release of 2 electrons. These electrons travel towards the cathodic region, and if the cathode has lot of air, that is it is exposed to air as well as the moisture is present, then the oxygen gets reduced to hydroxyl ions. If the surface is not well aerated but the moisture is there, then the water gets reduced to hydroxyl ions along with the liberation of hydrogen gas. And if the surface is not well aerated and the medium is slightly acidic, then the hydrogen ions accepts the electrons and produces hydrogen gas. Thus, we can say that the ferrous ion, that is Fe2 plus, which are produced at the anodic area, and the hydroxyl ions, OH ions, which are produced at the cathodic areas, combine to form ferrous hydroxide, FeOH twice, and this further oxidizes to produce rust, that is Fe2O3NH2O. This is explained with the help of this figure, where the anodic area is formed, where the Fe2 plus are produced due to the dissolution of iron at the anodic area by the oxidation of the metal, and at the cathodic area the hydroxyl ions are produced. These two combine to give ferrous hydroxide, which finally forms the rust, Fe2O3NH2O. So we can conclude that the wet or the electrochemical corrosion is the slow oxidation which takes place due to the formation of small tiny galvanic cells all over the surface of the metal due to the difference in the concentration of air or faulty design of the metal or many other reasons which I have already explained in the chapter. Now, this electrochemical corrosion is of great significance because the nation suffers severe losses of lives and property every year despite of spending crores of money. The collapse of bridges, buildings and railway tracks are all the examples of electrochemical or the wet corrosion. In the coming lectures, I will be talking about the factors which affect the rate of corrosion and how to prevent the corrosion.